Welcome back into Talking Points. We're joined now at the desk by our Talking Points analysts, Alana Epstein and Bella Galan. Welcome back, folks. It was so great to have you on election night. Great to have you back here for our hour-long double-stuffed Talking Points season finale, as we're calling it. It's not too long of a title, I don't think.
When did we call it that?
I don't know. We got to talk about some news that you can use, though, because I'm a big TikTok user. I know Alana's a big TikTok user. I know Bella, you're a big TikTok user.
Yes,
you're not on TikTok, are you?
Never downloaded it.
Oh my gosh.
I think you got to get it before January 19th
Yes.
because that is when the ban goes into effect that was signed a few months ago for sale, but we're not expecting them to sell it, or maybe we are, I don't know. That's the question. What is this bill, Alana, that was passed a few months ago? It's kind of flown under the radar since then, but now we're coming up on that deadline for the full sale.
Yeah. So this was a legislation that was passed by President Joe Biden in April that said if TikTok doesn't sell itself to an American owner by the time that Trump takes office, that TikTok is going to be banned. Congress passed this law in April. It set a 9-month deadline for TikTok's owner ByteDance to divest from the app, or it's going to be booted from app stores. So TikTok filed a lawsuit against this and said that this ban infringes on its First Amendment rights. TikTok is arguing, saying that it's not possible technologically, commercially, or even legally for this to happen because it works with ByteDance, and TikTok would not be nearly as big without ByteDance. That's what they're saying. But the Justice Department has not changed its stance. It says that ByteDance, the Chinese ownership, is a threat to national security, and so both sides need this court ruling by this Friday, December 6th, to put necessary plans in place. And we could be seeing a TikTok ban here in the United States as early as January 19th. I can't believe it's already December. That's literally next month.
It's gone so fast, Alana. And I want to bring you in here, but first I want to talk a little bit about the politics of this forced sale. AOC voted against it in the House. Marjorie Taylor Greene voted against it in the House. Pretty much everyone in between that voted for it.
The horseshoe bending together.
It passed with flying colors in an era that a lot of things don't pass with flying colors. What do you make of the bipartisanship in Congress on this forced sale?
Right, yeah. So as you said, even though the House is pretty bipartisan, they were all voting for the ban. Trump's cabinet is pretty divided. They're split. Some people are calling for an outright ban, while others really benefit from having TikTok and having TikTok's accounts. They're viral on that platform. But as for the people that are calling for the outright ban, we got to look at Project 2025. It refers to TikTok as a tool of Chinese espionage that should be outlawed. And taking a look at Brendan Carr, the FCC chair, he wrote that one of his main priorities during his term is reining in big tech, which does include TikTok. Then we also have to look at the Heritage Foundation, which is a conservative think tank, but they were part of writing the foreword to Project 2025. And President Kevin Roberts said, quote, when writing with TikTok and other social media platforms, they are specifically designed to create the digital dependencies that fuel mental illness and anxiety, to fray children's bonds with their parents and siblings. Federal policy cannot allow this industrial-scale child abuse to continue, which is very, very strong statement. But then on the other side of that, a lot of his cabinet members also have big followings on TikTok, and they really benefit from being able to put their policies on that platform. For example, J.D. Vance has over 2 million followers. RFK Jr., over 3 million followers. And the list continues. And it's obvious that with the 2024 election and how they use TikTok for campaigning, why some political figures really don't want this app to go away.
Well, you talk about the members of his cabinet. Trump himself has had something of a checkered history on this. I'm old enough to remember the days of yore in 2020. Remember we had the masks and we were wiping down the groceries. I remember seeing on the news Donald Trump saying he wants to ban TikTok, but then he decided to run for president again. He lost the last time, even though he won't say it, but he lost the last time. Decided to run for president again, wanted lots of young people to vote for him, so he went on TikTok. And what did he have to say to those people?
Yeah, like you said, he was very, very against it, called it a national threat, and said that it was a way for the Chinese government to get data on Americans, and he was against it completely. But now he's completely done a 180, reversing his stance. He even was asked in an interview about what he thought about the threat of TikTok now, and this is what he had to say.
You just talked about Chinese technology, the need to defend against it. TikTok and the threat people see to many kind of American children and things like that.
But
why do you no longer see TikTok as a security threat?
I think it is a threat. Frankly, I think everything's a threat. There's nothing that's not a threat.
Yeah, so like he's saying, it's a threat no matter what, so he's still benefiting from it, especially since he has 14.6 million followers on the app. That's the most out of any U.S. politician. And the fact that he used TikTok to his advantage when campaigning, a lot of people followed him. Obviously, that number, 14.6 million, has got a lot to say. And he said in September also in a Truth Social post that if he won the election, that he would save TikTok in America. So it's safe to say he's done a complete 180 and wants to keep the app.
Well, and as usual, Donald Trump uses hyperbole a lot of times, saying everything is a threat. There are a lot of things that are threatening, including a lot of those other social media apps that harvest data in the exact same ways that TikTok does, Facebook and Instagram. Those are U.S.-based companies, though, and I think the concern is about China.
Regulations.
Right.
And I think that's part of the concern of Congress, right? We famously saw all of those big tech CEOs on Capitol Hill over the years in these bipartisan hearings where people were grilling them. And I think the interesting nuance is you mentioned the Heritage Foundation. So rarely do you see them agreeing on something with Sean Casten, who's some pretty liberal representative from Illinois and somebody who came out and spoke out and said, we need to pass this forced sale, and tried to explain it on those apps that kind of target younger voters. But let's stop talking about the politics of it. Let's talk about what it would actually look like in January. Alana, I want to bring you back in.
Yeah, so if this court rules this week to uphold this TikTok ban, which it actually is looking like, TikTok will first have some time to appeal the case before January 19th. Again, that's next month. But something like this really hasn't happened before. So likely if this TikTok ban does happen, you won't not see TikTok on your phone. You'll still have it on your phone. You just won't see it in the App Store. So if you don't have TikTok yet, you might want to get it now before January 19th. Internet service providers will stop enabling TikTok distribution. Oracle is a company that handles TikTok's user data. They might stop supporting the app. It's unclear how quickly this would all happen. It's also unclear how this would affect TikTok Shop, which is kind of like a knockoff Amazon. It's actually been doing pretty well. So if you have an order that's still out and going, it's unclear how that would all happen. But something interesting that I want to point out is that the US has the most TikTok users out of any country. According to Pew Research Center, 6 in 10 US adults under 30 say they use TikTok. 6 in 10 teens ages 13 to 17 say they use TikTok, and 4 in 10 US TikTok users say they regularly get their news on there. That's pretty interesting to me. Also, many people use TikTok as a primary source of income. People make big money on TikTok. Out of all other social media apps, creators can make between $1,000 and $20,000 per video. So based on all of these stats, it's pretty interesting to me, and it's going to be really interesting to see what happens.
And I would imagine the other 57% of those people get their news from right here on Talking Points. It's the best place to get their news because we have all the best people. We have Alana Epstein, we have Bella Galan. Thank you both so much for being here. Coming up